Mortgage Coach community, what's up? Dave Savage here, and I'm interviewing two brothers, which I don't typically do, but it's kind of cool. What's up, Jackson and Holden?
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Hey, Dave. Good to be here. Thanks for having us.
So, I've been watching you guys, but I didn't realize just how much you were killing it. I mean, how long have you guys been doing the mortgage business? Doing loans. I mean, you've been doing the business for a while, but how long have you guys been doing loans?
Let's see here. I think we're pretty comparable. I started doing loans, I think, beginning of the summer of 2017. So it's been about 2.5 years.
March 2017 for him, August 2016 for me. We were running a mortgage company for that, and we decided to give that up, or it's Holden's company, but and then just go into production.
I remember that, man. You guys were a mortgage coach enterprise client, and then you guys decided to go production.
And officers on board with it, yeah, totally.
And you're like killing it. So where are you at today in terms of production, annually, and let's just say the last month?
Right now I'm at 160 units year to date for about 51 million. So I'm hoping to finish probably around 180, 185 units for the year, maybe depending on how it goes, maybe 55 to 60 million.
That's incredible.
And I'm let's see, I am right at we'll see, we're closing out November, December here, but basically on the books I would say that I'm gonna close out probably low 50 millions, like around 52, 53 million. And let's see, as far as units go, probably going to be at about 145 to 150.
That's incredible. So in 2.5 years, 3 years, you guys are, in the top 1% and like not even barely making top 1%. So congratulations. And you got another brother who's like, there's three of you.
Yeah, he's doing 50 million too. So we're all like right at about 50 million. So crazy.
You can't let one brother beat the other one. It's just a thing. So
is that kind of it? There's just a competition of the brothers.
Oh yeah,
the Thomas brothers.
It is a little bit. It's good, healthy competition, but
it's killing Holden that I'm ahead of him right now. He's going to stay late tonight trying to get a couple more loans on. So.
I love that. And where exactly are you guys at? Exactly what market are you guys in?
We're in Dallas, Texas.
And do you work like all of Dallas, or are you in a certain part of Dallas? Or you just anywhere within an hour of Dallas?
But, probably like all the loan officers on this, it's very relationship based. So, I would say I work all over DFW, but most of it's the realtors I work with. So I'd probably say roughly close to downtown.
Right. And then are you guys pretty realtor focused where most of your business is coming purchase based, realtor referrals? And past customers?
75% for both of those. We don't have much of a database to work. So
as far as past clients go, we're building our past client database, but we've got a lot of realtors. I've started to do more builders and developers and things like that, but for the most part, it's pretty realtor centric, pretty purchase centric.
Sweet. All right, now let's get into some mortgage coach strategies. For anyone watching this, both these guys are black belts. I hate to say it, but Jackson has more TCAs than Holden. So he's almost a grandmaster at 1,000 TCAs. And I know you're north of 600. So you're hot on his tail. But I guess why mortgage coach? Like, how are you using mortgage coach and why are you using mortgage coach? Then let's just talk about some ideas and strategies on how you're doing it. And I'll let you go. Well, let's see who goes first. Let's see who jumps up.
I'll jump first and then I'll let Holden go. Right. My main thought that I tell people is like, what are you quoting people with? If you're not using Mortgage Edge, you're sending an itemized fee worksheet or an email, I will beat you every time. That's ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, the bar is so low in our business that like people send quotes in an email or the phone or send an itemized fee worksheet, which nobody can read anyways. It's a joke in my opinion. So like Mortgage is the only option. And if you get good at it, I can send a quote in 15 seconds, like from my phone or from my thing. Like it takes a while to get it, like with any technology, but like once you get it, like I just feel like I crushed the competition because the competition is terrible, so there's no other option besides Mortgage Edge. Like what is your competition, Dave? Like an itemized fee worksheet? That's like a car competing against a horse.
I love that, dude. That's definitely your thing. It's like competition and you see it as the best way to compete. Cool.
Totally.
Holden?
Yeah, so I think for me, it is a consumer is trying to get to know you. They're very buying a house is scary. All the numbers are scary. And a lot of times everything you can do to present yourself in a more professional manner, a way that really helps educate them, helps clarify things for them. I think because a lot of times people make decisions off a gut feel, whether like a lot of times they can't put together why they picked you, but they did pick you. And a lot of times little things like really making it clear for them, educating them, walking through it. And I just see it as an incredible tool that gives you a better ability to connect with the client and to clarify issues, which I think brings them peace of mind, which gives you an edge up against your competition. So
clarity. And we all know that getting a mortgage is confusing and it's perceived as hard. So if you can make it, easier to understand, that's a good thing. And Denise, you mentioned that you watched my interview with Denise Donahue today.
Yeah.
I thought she did a really good job of making that point. Like people I feel like 10% down is better than 5% down. Well, you know what? Let's not feel, let's look at the numbers, let's rock this thing out. So let's talk about how you guys are using it. And since you went first, Jackson, why don't we just keep flowing with you first? Why, how are you using it with agents and how does it fit into your sales process?
So lead comes in, take the loan app, then I book a loan consultation. Then I do a Zoom meeting just like this, and we go through the computer screen. I never send a quote. I never send Mortgage Edge until we do a meeting. So and if they want updated quotes, I book a meeting. We do a Zoom meeting. I can knock it out, and it's a chance to reconnect. Just like we're connecting here a video, like it's been years, but this 5 seconds you reconnect people. So I send quotes that way. That's how I engage it into my process. Is I will take loan application, issue maybe pre-approval or pre-qual, but I'm always then booking a follow-up call, and then we're going over the numbers with like a Zoom meeting, doing a screen share, or using live, something to that effect.
Do people ever come into your office, or
yes? So yeah, every person is either going to meet in with me in person or do a Zoom meeting. I do not send quotes. I don't do anything unless it's a Zoom meeting or in face. I prefer in face to face, but it doesn't happen every time. Holden's a little better at getting him in the office than I am. I probably use Zoom more than he does.
Got it. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But when you look at going from white belt loan officer to black belt mortgage professional, you'll notice that he mentioned like Zoom, live, video. It's like, think of it like, guys, if you're a modern mortgage professional, you want to kill it, all these little tools are like clubs in a golf bag. And you don't play every club on every hole. You pick out like, hey, what's the right golf club for this client at this time? And you clearly, got that wired. One last question before I go to Holden. How do you position it? Because I've already noticed that you guys are like brothers, but you're different. And you use mortgage coach different. So I'd love to hear, how do you position it for the family? Like when you're getting ready to give them what we call the total cost analysis, or the mortgage coach total cost analysis, what does it sound like when you say it so that they're pumped? They're like looking forward to seeing it and they click on it. How do you do it? What do you say?
I think there's a couple of ways I can answer that. I'll try and be succinct, which is, okay, number one, I'm taking the loan application. I'm saying by getting a loan application, I'm going to be able to put together like a quote for you. It'll be a custom quote with multiple different options, right? We can do a rent versus own it if they're renting. We can do a total cost analysis, which shows them all the different options and allows them to like lower the bar. Like, hey, it's okay to talk to other lenders. That's fine if you want. You send me the quote. You referred from Dave. Dave's one of my best friends, one of the best realtors. I want to help you whether you go with me or not. Send me the loan estimate from the other lender. We'll do a side-by-side comparison. If I can't match or beat it, I'll wish you well, but I promise you're going to be able to get better information by putting in all options in a total cost analysis, doing a side-by-side and really making the best overall decision. I'll give you the best deal, or I'll tell you to go with another lender if they're better than me, but they probably aren't going to be. And so I'll say total cost analysis, rent versus own, or cost of waiting. So I tee that up maybe at the loan application. Then in terms of when they come in for the loan consultation, I'm saying, hey, today we're going to go over your pre-approval, the details about that. We're going to go over some home buying tips. I have a buyer consult presentation. And then we're going to go through numbers, right? I'll walk you through the quote that we discussed on the phone. And so I never quote on the phone. I never give rate. I never talk payment. I never say anything until they come in for the loan consult or the Zoom meeting.
Love that. And a couple of things I want to make sure they pulled out of that, because as I interview top producers, I hear this a lot. You notice he edified the realtor. So he spoke to the fact that, honored the realtor. It's all about option selling. I'm going to give you options. And here's the deal, guys. When the customer picks the loan, they basically pick the loan officer. So giving that single fee worksheet is a disadvantage. So Holden, let's do you now. What's your, how would you answer the question in terms of how you integrate your sales process and what your scripting is?
So what I really like to do is build a rapport with that client to where they trust me and they see me as an advisor more than just like I'm going to do your loan at just a transactional basis. So what I do is when I have them come in, I'm going to really spend a lot more time educating them on how buying a home really impacts their overall financial well-being. So I'm going to talk about looking at a 7 to 10 year horizon. And I'm going to start going through, well, what are the tax implications of you buying? I noticed that you're in a pretty high tax bracket, you're W-2'd. I noticed you don't have a lot in the form of deductions. Have you really factored in how buying a home is really going to impact you on a tax basis? Or should you put 5% down or 20% down? What's the difference? Let's look at these and really educating them about the time value of money, educating them about, building equity over time, about their taxes, and really trying to get them to buy into me as a trusted advisor.
Got it. And what does the script sound like with the customer before you give them the TCA? How do you position that? What's your language? What are your words?
So usually what I'll say is, look, there are certain kind of norms that you hear out there. Put down 20%. You don't want to have mortgage insurance, these sort of things. And what I'll do is I'll say, hey, look, rather than just telling you what to do, I want to show you. So I'm going to put together a scenario right now, and we're going to take, you're pre-qualified up to this amount. Let's say you're pre-qualified up to 500,000, but your comfort level is 400,000. So let's do a scenario right now, 400,000. And I'm going to look at it. We're going to do a 20% down, a 10% down, and a 5% down. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a different MI strategy where we're going to do a single premium MI on the 5% down. And so what we're going to do is look at it. And then what we're going to do is take that additional money that you would have put down on the 20%. And I'm going to have you invest that into the market, say at 6%. So I'll go to the analysis tab. I'm going to put in there basically that rather than, then I'll put in how much they have basically in investments. I'll put in an assumed appreciation rate of 6%. And we'll look over a 7-year time horizon. And I'll use the TCA to show their total net worth at the end of 7 years. And every time the 5% down wins. And I show them, hey, would you have thought this? Would you have thought that your net worth would be higher 5% down? And I don't have anyone tell me that they would have thought that, but the numbers in the TCA really clarifies it for them. So now I found that more than anything surprises them. And they really buy into me as being a trusted advisor of, wow, this guy's really teaching me something. He's really educating me versus just quoting rates.
I love it. Thank you, guys. So I want to walk through a couple slides on my screen. And when I give it back to you, I want one of you to be ready to kind of pull up a total cost analysis. And let's just walk through one of them. But, here's the deal, everybody on this call. I mean, this is the way loan officers have been delivering rates and fees for like 40 years. Like through the meltdown, it's a fee worksheet. And this is basically white belt. Rate, payment, closing costs, white belt loan officer. This is a transaction. And when you deliver a transaction and you sound like every other loan officer, I can close your loan faster, easier, I keep my promises, I got great rates. I mean, it's good for a loan officer, but it's not giving you a competitive advantage. Every loan officer asks, how old are you going to be? How long do you think you'll be in this home? And that's just white belt. And so that's how 95% of mortgage experiences go. And what you guys are doing, it's really clear. You get it. Okay, I want to provide more information than that. I want to show the cost over time. And the science behind that is that, you got the transactional information on Mortgage Coach, but you've also got, the star, the advice star. You're showing cost over time. And that's more transparency and its options. And that's orange belt. Now, blue belt and you guys have crushed this a long time ago, that's 50 TCAs. And it does sound like, Holden, you do this more than Jackson. Is that right? Where you're like showing a prepay strategy, where you're showing some strategic things like that. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. Yeah. That was something I just learned from him. He's talked about it, but I need to implement that into my process. I think that's brilliant.
And I would push you guys to like get some language at the point of sale that, hey, I'm going to help you, whatever you're saying from a transaction standpoint, but then say, you know what I'm really passionate about is helping you build wealth with real estate. And I'm going to do that by helping you make better mortgage decisions. And then you're like, and then you're showing them, you've got the triangle, but you've got the star. It's like, those are the two ninja moves that make Mortgage Coach powerful. So now I've heard this from both of these guys in our prep when we talked before we did the interview. They crushed 75 TCAs years ago, but they know when to add a video. They know when to use audio. They know when to use live. And do both of you use Zoom or just you, Holden?
So I used to make a mistake. So Jackson and I one time were driving to a conference, and it was interesting because it was a 5-hour drive, and we were both on the phone talking to clients. And so I really got to hear how he talked to his clients and what he said versus what I said. So even though we work together every day, a lot of times I don't hear exactly what he says. And I made an interesting mistake that he pointed out to me was, I said, look, I'm going to put together a TCA. I'm going to send it over to you. I want you to review it, and then I'll follow up with you. And Jackson said, that's a mistake. You should not do that. You need to say, hey, let's do a Zoom meeting right now. It'll take 5 minutes. And let me walk it through with you right now. And that way you can get their feedback immediately, and you can tell if they like what they're hearing or not. And a lot of times what people do is they send it out, and there's too much time that goes by before they get that feedback. And so I love the idea. So I've started implementing Zoom or face-to-face now when I initially send that TCA, so I get the immediate feedback, and I don't let them sit around too long before I get that.
Yeah, no, I interview a lot of folks. I would tell you, like, and I use Zoom, and Zoom is great, but there's a lot of times where just use the live feature in Mortgage Coach. Yep. It's fast, it's easy.
And both great.
Yeah. And I don't care. Like, it's, whatever works for you and whatever's kind of right for that borrower at that time, omni-channel and options 75 times, purple belt, give them options and give them as close to an in-person experience as you can. And then brown belt, it's 100 TCAs, but here's the deal. The way you get really good at something, for anyone that's listening to this, and you can see that these guys are doing it, you're leading, you're helping other people. You're marketers. And I do have a couple of questions on if you're using Mortgage Coach as a marketing tool. The interview with Denise Donahue, which I'm going to put down below, half the call was how to be a black belt in mortgage advice, and half the call was, hey, now that you're a black belt, how do you market that? Yeah. And then just to wrap this up, hang on, I got an extra slide there. This is a black belt. Black belt, guys, is where you've done 300 or more TCAs, and you know how to do it in every selling situation that you get in. So looking at that, which are the sales strategies, and I'm going to ask you first, Jackson, which are the two, no more than three, that you do the most around that black belt?
I would say MI options, rent versus own, and points versus no points.
Okay. And Holden, what about you?
I would say that I do the MI options, and then I do the rent versus own. So I really delve into the financial benefit of buying a home pretty deeply.
Now, when I asked Jeremy for CA, he does this pre-approval options, and he a lots of time will do interest rate options. Like, hey, here's today's rate. Here's a little lower. Here's a little higher. And so you're giving them options on rates. Are you either of you guys doing that at all?
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what I was referring with points versus no points. Is I find a lot of times people are very sensitive about rate, and so I'm like, hey, here's a great option, super aggressive rate, higher closing costs. Here is an option with lower closing costs, but the rate's a little bit higher. What's more important to you, lower monthly payment or lower closing costs?
Boom, boom.
But it's interesting to me because I don't do that. I focus more on price point and MI. So I'll use, basically I'm like, hey, look, the rates change every day. So for me to quote you an exact rate right now when you don't have a house isn't really reasonable. But what I can do is let's get you a generic rate. Let me show you the impact of doing different MI strategies or how much you put down. So I really delve more into that. So it's really interesting to hear the different way that loan officers utilize this tool and the TCA, and you can use it in so many different ways.
Yeah, well, that's why I do so many interviews is I think, not only, heck, in Dallas, I could interview you, get one, interview Denise, get another way, interview Wally Elderberry down the street, get another way. Yeah, there's just so many good people, and that's why I'm always doing this. So let's pull, which one of you guys want to pull up a TCA and let's just close out with going through a story and a strategy, and what's the story? What's the customer story behind what you're going to show me?
Nick and Caroline, they buying a house, and they had heard from somebody like, hey, you can do no PMI. So I think in essence, a great thing if not loan officers aren't aware of it is like, if you've got a first-time home buyer, you can do 5% down, no PMI. And what you do is you basically just turn that into a conventional 97 and they buy out the PMI. So that's really what this is showing here is if you went with a 415 purchase.
By the way, I don't see it yet. I'll tell you when I see it.
Oh, I just hit share. Oh, wait, no.
Sure you did. Is he the guy that told us that he uses it?
Yeah, I clicked the button.
I'm kidding with you. I'm kidding.
It makes me hit the button twice. All right, well, you got a little bit of the story, right? Okay, so we got Nick and Caroline buying a house, 415. They heard on the radio from like Navy Federal Credit Union or somebody that you can do like a doctor loan or you can do something like, they're not doctors, but they heard something about a no PMI option. So I said, I can do 5% down, no PMI. So if you're a loan officer and you never heard about this, this might be one way you can do it. If you are looking at, you can, So the way that works is you have to have a first-time home buyer. And in essence, what you do is you do a 5% down loan and you do single premium to buy it out. So what happens is it pushes the LTV closer to 97, but they have no PMI. So this right here shows you the payment would be $28, $26 if we went down standard, and you'd be paying $111 a month and PMI. This option shows, hey, just do 5% down and buy out the PMI, like pay for it in cash. So that would push you more to like a 6 or 7% down, so to speak, in terms of your total cash to close. This is a 5% down program, but you're financing the MI. And this shows that the payment's $27.98. So the payment's about $30 less, and the cash to close is the same. So you can see your $19,000, and they're saving the PMI. So that's a strategy I've used in terms of I love putting together options with PMI to show them 10% down single premium, 15% down single premium. But yeah, so any questions on that?
Yeah, well, let's scroll down a little bit. I just want to see the whole picture over time. Scroll down to the bottom real quick, just kind of slowly. Oh, whoa. We got your reviews at the bottom. So you guys have the social survey integration turned on. And just a reminder to everybody, if you work at a company where they have social survey, now, let's face it, you love it when you get those reviews. You want to tell the world about them. But what's a better place than putting it in your sales experience? Like when you're quoting the rate, when you're delivering that presentation, you've got your reviews. But do you like that, by the way?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that was a major upgrade.
That was incredible. Jackson's very proud of his social survey score, so he's very happy about this.
Yeah, 420 reviews, 9.6. I'd be proud of that too, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty good review there. So,
yeah, so let's go to the top real quick.
Okay, go to the top.
I just, this came out in the interview with Denise, the very top, where it's got your picture, your branding. If you check out the interview I did with Denise, you'll notice that, hey, she's got her website and she's got a way that she's positioning and branding herself. She's does a lot of marketing on Facebook and Instagram. It's got the same picture, same kind of brand. And then mortgage coach, the way you deliver rates and fees, same picture. I haven't audited your personal brand digitally, Jackson, but is this pretty much the same picture you use across all channels, or do you mix it up?
I use this picture a lot, but I like Scott Metal, what I just saw you show me. I'm putting my family on there. I think that's a smarter move. People don't really care about me, but you put my family on there, my wife, my 2 daughters. I think that's smart branding. I'm going to make that upgrade after I saw Scott Metal do that.
It's, by the way, it's Josh.
Oh, Josh Metal, sorry.
And he's been very intentional. I mean, I've interviewed him now for at least a couple times every year for 4 years. And I think he's changed the family picture. This is on the 3rd time, but it's always like, it's him, you know, like I got to know him. It's his wife, his kids. And yeah, he's super intentional about that. And my message to y'all, hey, that's good for Josh. Obviously, Jackson said he likes it. He's going to do that. All I would make the point is be thoughtful, be strategic, and then be consistent, because you're trying to build a personal brand. And my goal for everybody, you can go ahead and stop sharing, by the way. Let's close out just video to video. Is guys, like if you were in the retail business, you would know this acronym WACD. You know, it stands for what Amazon can't do. And if you were a retailer, you have been obsessing over this for like a decade. And as a mortgage professional, you need to put a Z in it, WAZD, what Amazon and Zillow can't do. And they can't be you. You know, they can have a good transaction. They can crush it at the transactional triangle. Like they're going to kill that, but they can't be you. So put your picture on it and be thoughtful about it and be consistent about it. And you know what? They're not going to deliver the same level of advice. You know, they're not going to, what are your hopes? What are your dreams? What are your goals? And now let me put that together in a total cost analysis and show you how to build wealth with real estate. They're not going to do that. That's, you know, they're going to deliver the bare minimum transactional experience at an incredibly low cost. So hopefully you guys got some value from these guys in Dallas, Texas. Anything you guys want to share before we wrap it up? Like you're going to be talking to peers at your company, you're talking to the mortgage coach community. I'll give you guys each a minute to share anything that you want to, anything from the heart.
I think what I would say is really taking advantage of the resources that Dave is bringing to the table through the YouTube channel they've got. So I remember one day I've spent 4 hours delving into the scripts, into the strategies, all those different things that he's got. So I would say taking advantage of that in order to upgrade your experience. So I'm stepping out of this meeting and I've got 2 borrowers waiting for me and I'm walking in, and using Mortgage Coach is one of the main tools that I use outside of building rapport with them here. It's an amazing tool to help demonstrate my expertise, that I'm different than Quicken Loans, that there is something different. And so I use that connecting here, but this tool really helps facilitate that relationship. So I'd really encourage people out there to delve into the strategies that are out there and really learning how to use Mortgage Coach at a high level to really serve your clients.
So if you heard that and you're not part of our Facebook group, make sure you connect, Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind. And if you don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, recommend you do that so you get alerts when new videos get shared. So Jackson, how would you like to close it out?
No, I'm super honored to be on the call, Dave. It's been great seeing you again. And so I just think if you're quoting with anything other than Mortgage Edge, you're wasting, you're losing. You're riding a horse to work every day. Like, you get out of the 1800s. Like, it's hard, I understand, to learn a new software. And like, creating the templates is hard. And like, sometimes the tech is hard. You email support when you get problems. They have a support website. There's YouTube videos that show you how to do this. If you invest like 15 minutes a day or 15 minutes a week, like, you know, like a college degree, like, is what, like 50 hours in college? If you do an hour a week on Mortgage Edge, you can have a 4-year degree in Mortgage Edge in 1 year. So just take time once a week to get better at it. And then I can turn quotes around in like 30 seconds because I'm so quick with it now.
And what I would say is, in watching Jackson, one of the things he's great at is implementation. So getting the, you know, a lot of people will get on, but they don't really implement the system in the way that it needs to be implemented. So I think that getting in, and he obviously is very competitive, and he is going to beat you if you are not using this. Yeah. Hands down. I will beat you if you're not using this. So don't get stuck in a rut of the way it's always been. don't be afraid of stepping out and investing in something new. And I love the open source atmosphere here that you've created, Dave. But I want to encourage people, jump out there, start implementing, start taking advantage of these amazing resources.
I love it, man. You guys are awesome. And, you know, Holden, I got to ask you one more question just because I forgot to ask it earlier. But he said you do a better job of getting people to come into the office than he does. Just real quick, what is your get people to come into your office script? I just think I want to know it, and I think the community could benefit from it.
So the way that I really pitch it is I say, hey, look, I know, you know, you're probably super busy, and I know it's not necessarily convenient for you to come in, but I want to talk through some of the benefits of coming in to meet with me for 1 hour. So what we're going to do is, first off, is I'm going to go through and I'm going to get your pre-approval 100% buttoned down. That means all your documentation, everything is super clear. So you're going to be clear on exactly what your payment will be, exactly how much you need to bring to closing, every question, the process. And here's how it's going to really benefit you is that when you go to make an offer, we can make a much more aggressive offer. So right now, sellers are going into Christmas time. They do not want their house on the market. If you come to them with a little bit faster closing date and we maybe do a more aggressive financing contingency or no financing contingency, a lot of times that's going to help you win that deal because it's more secure and it's faster. So if you come in and meet with me, I can then be teed up and be ready to go, and we can close a loan in 2 weeks. And a lot of times you can get the seller to say yes to a 2-week close on what they wouldn't say yes to on a 30+ day close. So I usually go that direction, as well as talking them through on the financial aspect of it and showing them, hey, I can guarantee you a 20+% return year over year on your house. And if you come in, I'll show you how to do that. So usually I take those two components.
So guys, I mean, he's basically saying, come see me and you'll get a better deal when you make an offer because we'll do this right. We'll do it faster. And come in because I can help you build wealth with real estate and I'll show you. Dude, I'm so glad I asked you. So
That's good.
that was good. So we got to get your other brother in here. There are 3
We'll do another one.
brothers. And if you have questions for these guys, put them down below. If you got value from this, give it a like. If you have mortgage friends that you want to help, like see them be more successful, share this. If you have friends that you don't want to be more successful, keep it to yourself. And guys, that was awesome, man.
Hey.
First interview, and I can't wait for the next one, man.
Love it.